The challenge for Snapchat is if I'm doing something like this, how do I prevent basically becoming the testing ground for Facebook, which is kind of what they've done in the past, which is they test something out, some things work, some things doesn't, and then when something works really well, Facebook just copies it.
You can now make an interactive show with your own characters, and they have kind of like predefined segments and things like this that you can do. If you're the underdog like a Snapchat, how do you innovate on supply? Because the other guys have demand. They've got demand locked in.
We see Snapchat going into a little bit of a different direction, but still innovating with live and with video. They've launched Bitmoji TV, a personalized cartoon show. They acquired Bitstrips back in 2016 for $64 million. And they're now kind of using this. You can now make an interactive show with your own characters, and they have kind of like predefined segments and things like this that you can do, and you can stitch together different sequences. But they've been investing a lot of money into this technology, Bitmoji stories, and kind of working away at this. Basically, what they're trying to do, the way I would qualify this is, how do I let my community of producers, of content creators, to give them new tools and new unique ways to create content that's unique to Snapchat and not to any of the other large content platforms, where now what you see is we're doing this, where we're putting our content on a variety of different social media content platforms.
Right.
But it's all pretty much the same content. You're just doing it to get distribution. How do you get unique content specific to the platform?
Right.
Which is a differentiator and kind of has more of a home in that arena.
That kind of multi-network thing that the producers do is less of an issue if you're huge like YouTube and you've got to be there because all the demand is there. Is a much bigger issue if you're smaller and need to figure out, how am I going to continue to grow to compete with a YouTube or compete with an Instagram or a Facebook the way Snapchat is?
Yeah.
So that unique content and that unique inventory is definitely important for them to figure
you're
out.
innovating on supply, right? And we've spoken about just the importance of supply throughout the evolution of many of every platform,
right?
But particularly when you get to scale, and if you're the underdog like a Snapchat, how do you innovate on supply? Because the other guys have demand. They've got demand locked in, which means the supply, you have much more leverage on the supply than say a Snapchat does.
The challenge for Snapchat is if I'm doing something like this, how do I prevent basically becoming the testing ground for Facebook, which is kind of what they've done in the past, which is they test something out, some things work, some things doesn't, and then when something works really well, Facebook just copies it. So I think from them, how do you start to engage more of the supply? I think one of the things that creators complained about on Snapchat is like there wasn't really good ways to get audience metrics and focus on engagement and actually build an audience and make a living on Snapchat the way there has been on Instagram, for example, or on YouTube with the ad split and things there.
Yeah,
so
the discovery is very different. Getting
more and more ways to get in deeper with that creator ecosystem, I think would definitely be. I think Snapchat's been a little behind on that, but I think they definitely need to continue to do that.
Yeah, I mean, where Snapchat lost me was when they decided to. It used to be, 3 years ago ish, you could only post a Snapchat if you were taking the photo or the video via the Snapchat app.
Right now, they let you save it to the camera roll and export it. And,
yeah. Once they made that shift and they said, we're going to let you upload content from your camera roll, I think it was a short-term move to try and get more supply, make it easier for you to put content into the app. But when they made that shift, to me, they were about to cross this threshold where Snapchat would become the default camera app on your phone. They would replace. I found myself taking photos in Snapchat's app, even though it was worse quality. The camera sucked compared to your Apple camera app. The quality sucked, and it was pixelated and grainy, but I'd still do it because otherwise I couldn't post it on Snapchat.
Right.
And then when they got rid of that, then that to me was the beginning of the end, or the beginning of their down spiral, where they probably made that move out of desperation. But I felt like if they had stuck with that, they would have been able to bring about a user behavior change. And it's hard to quantify that. It's a very kind of qualitative thing, but a user behavior change where your default camera app is now Snapchat, not the Apple or,
Right.
or
Well, they
Android
call
camera.
themselves a camera company.
Right.
So that would make sense if that was the goal.
So that went away. Anyway, they're back to the supply innovation. They bought another company here called AI Factory. This was just announced a couple days ago for $166 million, which is now going to let you make cooler cameos and all that kind of stuff.
Basically, you can put your head into a moving image and have it kind of like, I would call a kind of mild version of a deep fake, make it move in conjunction with the kind of moving image. And it's something I think they've been integrating already, and basically they were acquiring this company that they'd been working on this feature with.
This one didn't seem that exciting to me. I kind of like the Bitmoji thing a little bit more. I felt like you could kind of already do this like with the iPhone and like those little emoticon like things where I could be like a monkey and make faces. And I don't know, maybe I'm not understanding it, but yeah. So, but anyway, I like some of the moves that Snapchat's trying to make Bitmoji more than AI Factory. But yeah, it makes sense to innovate on the supply side and try and get more traction there. To get just more unique engagement that could only happen within Snapchat versus these other, just replicating the same content across other platforms. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.